We'll now complete the arcing motion of our head turns. What we're going to do is add some rotate Z movement in our animation, which is going to add a little bit of personality to our character. Personality is another one of those key principles of animation we don't want to leave out, because we all have a certain personality to us. So our characters should too. We want to make sure that the audience will be able to empathize or relate with our characters, or else we'll lose their attention. So again, we're just going to add a little personality to this animation, nothing major. Let's bring back our NURBS curves. We'll select our head control, and we're going to be moving in the rotate Z. Again, okay. So what this movement is also going to be is follow through movement. All right, we're going to give the head a little bit more of a swing. So let's see. Remember, we're also going to follow the same principle that we did in the when we were figuring out the rotate X movement. So we're going to add the anticipation first, then we're going to add the follow through, the head swing, and then more follow through after that. So let's go to frame 1. On frame 1, we'll rotate the head towards the right, and that's going to be the anticipation. And why do we want to do that? Well, our character is actually moving his head to the right, and while it's moving to the right, while the head is moving to the right, we're going to swing it to the left. Alright, so to add to the anticipation, we're going to actually rotate the character's head to the right first. So when it swings to the left, when the head's moving to the right, it's going to look a little bit more appealing. Alright, so we'll rotate the head like that, and let's go to about frame 14 now, and let's rotate the head now to the character's left, like that. And now we need to add a little bit more follow through, so we need to add the follow through after this, and the follow through is going to be where the head now goes back to the right, the direction that it turned in. So we can add that by going to about frame, let's go to about frame 22, and we'll just rotate the head now in the opposite direction. Okay, so when we play back, watch what we get. Alright, let's go ahead and hit play to see how our animation's looking. Okay, so you can see that now our head turns have a little bit more personality to it. Okay, so we'll continue this process. Let's go ahead and work on the next head turn. So let's go to about frame, maybe about frame, let's see, maybe about frame 46. And on frame 46, we'll add our anticipation. So now our character's head is rotating to his left. So we're going to want to first rotate in the Z to the left. Then during the head swing, which we can put on about frame 55, we'll now rotate the head to the right. Okay, so let's do that. Like so. And we'll scrub through to see how our animation is looking. Okay, now we'll add the follow through to that. So let's go to about frame 62. Now on frame 62, we'll go ahead now and rotate the head to the left, the direction that the head turned, slightly, like that. And we'll scrub through to see if we like the movement we're getting. Okay. Now let's apply this to our last head turn. So let's go to about frame 91 and add our anticipation. Now the head's going to be turning to the right again, so we're going to rotate the head slightly to the right, like that. Then we'll scrub through and find out where we can add the head swing, a follow through to that. Let's go to frame 100, and now we'll rotate the head to the left slightly. Okay, and this is not a big head turn, so we're not going to want to rotate it as much as we would with the other head turns. Okay, and it also depends on the timing. So the amount at which to rotate the head also depends on the speed at which the character is turning his head. And this last head turn is not as fast as the others, so we want to keep that in mind when we're rotating our character's head. So that should be fine. that pose that we've done. And now let's add the follow through. So we can go to frame 110 and we'll now rotate the head in towards the direction it turned. Like that. Okay. And we'll go ahead and bring the head back on the last frame. So we'll go to frame 125, and since we rotated the head to the right, the follow through is going to be moving the head to the left slightly. Okay, now let's do a play blast to see how our animation's looking. So we'll focus the head in and go to Windows and do a play blast. I'm just going to pause the video. Here's the play blast. Alright, now look at how natural our head turns look. Okay, now they're moving more human-like. Okay, what we can do now is spend the time to go through our tangency and make sure that they're adjusted the way we want to so we can get the most out of our animation. So let's bring back our NURBS curves. We'll select our head control and we'll go back to our perspective graph view. And in the graph view, we're going to go down through each of our rotate attributes, each of our channels, and see if we could adjust any of the tangency on the channels. Okay, so let's start with the rotate X and we'll hit F. Okay, and what we want to look for are any tangents that are not necessarily peak keys. And what I mean by that is, here's an example. Here's a peak key here, and then here's a peak key. So they're the ones that make up the hilly F curve. All right. So if we had a key, for example, where the key was more planar with the adjacent key next to it, like for example, if we had a key like that, okay, we'd probably want to adjust the tangency of either or of these keys so that they'd have more of a flow, more of a curve. And if we go ahead and look at this key more in detail, let's hit F and really adjust our view so we can see the curve in more detail. Okay, we'd want to go ahead and adjust our curve so we can get more of an arc, so we can get the most again out of our animation. But I'm just going to undo back. Just wanted to show you what we'd want to look for when adjusting our tangency. But the rotate X looks fine, so let's move on to the rotate Y. Hit F, and we'll look for keys that we can possibly adjust. Okay, so we'll go ahead and zoom in, and these keys look fine. Let's see. Maybe we could adjust this one on frame 8. So we'll select that key and hit F. And we'll also see the curve in a little bit more detail. Alright. So notice we got some flat tangency here. So what we want to do is just edit the tangency a little bit so our curve flows nicer. So we can select the left side of this tangent handle, and we'll middle mouse button click and drag down, and watch what happens. Now we're able to edit the influence that this F curve has through this span of time. Alright, so now our F curve is flowing better. Okay, let's check out our rotate Z movement. So we'll hit F, frame that curve, and we've got our peak keys in there. We don't have any keys that aren't peak keys, so this is fine. Okay, so we can now do a play blast just to see if we can notice any difference in our animation from the adjustments we made. So go to Window, Play Blast, and I'll just pause the video. Here's the play blast. Okay, so we may not notice any major changes from the adjustments we made of the tangency because it was a minor key. Okay, it wasn't anything major, so but I do recommend that you still go through your tangency and adjust any tangents that can possibly, just add more to your animation once they're adjusted. And that completes the arcing motion of our head turns. So in the next lesson, we'll actually finish up our head movement.